When it comes to exercises for the lower body, the deadlift is the most fundamental movement in human life. I mean, think of the amount of times that we bend over to pick something up during the day. Problem being, we rarely do it correctly. What I often see when I ask people to pick something up is something like this. They're just going to bend with the back, and you know that's often the case when we sit a lot. We kind of forget how to use our hips. What I'm going to do tonight is show you how to use your hips in a deadlift to just picking things up, and then there's just a couple things you can do to really tone the hips at the same time. First thing I do when I'm teaching a deadlift, I tell somebody to think about a bad dance move. I'm going to put my hands here, stick the butt out, come back up. What I'm doing here is I'm engaging the hips. I'm hinging in the hips. It's called a hip hinge. And what I want you to think about doing is hinging from here as opposed to hinging from the knees where you start to lean forward and come forward with the toes. All right, once the person has this progression here, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to incorporate a little bit of weight. So what I often do to teach this, I'm going to put a dowel rod on my back here, just so it teaches me to keep everything in line and lined up. Okay, I'm just holding the dumbbell here as if I'm bending over to pick something up. You can also teach this with a kettlebell, but this is a really great way to transfer to thinking about picking up a bag or just anything that you're using your arms. Okay, once the person has this motion, we're going to move on to something like a dumbbell here. All right? What I'm doing is I'm standing over the dumbbell, and I want to think about, again, standing over it, so I'm forced to sit back on my heels, use my hips, lean forward. I've got this nice arch going on in my back here. I'm just standing straight up. It's important to get this thing in between your legs because if it's too far in front, what happens is, you got to use your back, and that hurts. So the tips would be chest out, slight arch in the back, butt comes out, maintain this, pick a spot about 15 degrees in front of you to keep that chest up, and just stand straight up with it. All right? Now often, for most people, a set of deadlifts here with the dumbbell is really all that you're going to need to really tighten the hips. But what I like to do afterwards in order to help to build some tone is throw in a set of glute bridges. So after performing a dumbbell deadlift, what we'll often have a client do, perform just something like a single leg hip lift, holding at the top for 1 to 2 seconds and coming back down. The advantage of this strategy is because we're working the glute from different angles, both vertical and horizontal here, you're going to get a really focused development. You're going to develop all areas of the muscle, and that's really going to help to build muscle tone all over and kind of tone up maybe some flabby areas that you've got going on there. So the tips would be glute bridges or some kind of a butt exercise on the floor. Another one would be bird dogs after your deadlift, and that is the dissection of the deadlift.